Hi, this is Todd Carr of TaxPoint, and today I'm going to walk you through creating offices and managing offices in the TaxPoint application. So an office is really a physical location which is really tied to an EFIN. So for every EFIN that you have that you use within the Drake software, you need to create an office. Whether that be that office is really a physical location or whether you use multiple EFINs at one location, it does not really matter, but you need to make sure that every EFIN has an office associated with it, because once you create an office, give us the EFIN, then we transmit that to Drake, and then those returns can actually be submitted to us. So looking at your offices, after you've logged on, you look at your offices tab. You can see a list of all the offices that you've created. Now when you sign up for any of the plans, whether that be silver, gold, or platinum, you're asked to provide enough information to create your very first office. If you only have one office, then at that point you're really done. All you could do is go in and actually edit some additional details of the office, and we'll be showing you that in a little bit. But really, other than that, you don't really need to create any other additional offices. However, if you're an ERO that has multiple offices, you want to create all of the offices right up front. So what you do is go in here to click on New Office, and then you can supply the information necessary to create an office. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick. Now this EFIN is clearly a test EFIN or a dummy EFIN. So, but this is where you're going to supply your 6-digit EFIN. You give it a name. This is a friendly name, so any name you want to offer here is this a way of distinguishing one office from another. And then the company name. So this is the name of the company in which you're doing business. So some offices may all be working under the same company name, but some offices may have different company names. So that's where we have the option of splitting that out. And we'll go ahead and just select an address, state, and we'll go ahead and select a dummy phone number for right now. Now the phone number is interesting because the phone number is only going to be exposed to your users when a IRS reject is announced. So whenever we call the user, or they check on the website, or any of that matter, calling into the IVR via our toll-free number, we're going to offer them the office phone number. So make sure this is a phone number that you want to expose to your clients. If you are going to not announce IRS rejects, then any number will suffice, because that's the only time it's really used. The time zone is used really two ways. One is so that when you fill in down here below the hours of operations, we can actually, if the user goes to the website refundpoint.com and checks his status, we can actually tell them if the office is open or not. The other thing it also does is for any outbound phone calls, we will use this time zone to try to determine when the phone calls are acceptable to go out. So we only send out phone calls between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. For the time zone for the office in which you selected. So for example, for the office here, My Best Office, it's in the Central Time Zone, means any outbound messages letting people know their checks are ready, for example, those phone messages will only happen between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So also what I can do is go in here and say, well, we can set our hours of operation, and again, like I said, this will be exposed on the refundpoint.com website. We go in here and select that I open at 9 o'clock, and then I close at, let's say, I close at 7 o'clock. Of course, if you want to go ahead and make that a little easier, a little faster, what you can do is actually come through here and just copy and paste. And I'll copy this one. And we're done. So I'm closed on the weekends. Now we've done the left-hand side. So let's talk about the right-hand side. So the right-hand side, by default, we have what we call a check print delay, and we have a check ready delay. So there's really three types of delays, if you will. So these are important. So the check ready status. So check ready status really pertains to bank bank products. So bank products, customer is typically paying some additional money, or is normally very aggressive about when they want their checks. So we want to balance the notifying them as early as possible with the with basically announcing that, not announcing that until the actual the check is actually ready, so the ERO is ready to present the customer with that check. So we try to balance these two. And the way we do it is through three mechanisms. The first is a check print delay. So we don't announce any checks are ready. Absolutely none of them are ever announced as ready for bank products until you've actually printed the check. So until the ERO actually goes in and prints the check, we will not announce those checks as being ready. We have a check print delay, so what it means is we won't actually make a text message, outbound phone call, email, or even if they call into the IVR or check the website, we will not show that check as being ready until 30 minutes after it's been printed. And that's for the day of which it was printed. So that's a great way to actually have this kind of buffer. So as soon as you print a check, let's say it messed up, got jammed in the printer, or you need to reprint it, that's kind of that buffer that kind of gives you that opportunity. So you know that as soon as you print it, they're not going to know about it for at least 30 minutes. Now clearly you can change that, and it's basically the number of minutes that you want to lay the check. So 30 minutes, or you can actually add 60 minutes if you want. The check ready delay is if you're an ERO that knows they come in every morning at 8 o'clock, you transmit, you get all of your checks come back, you print them all out, and then you get everybody's folders out and you start working through and putting their checks in the folder, printing out their final returns, just doing the last bit of paperwork. What you can do is you can actually build in a check ready delay. And what you can do is say, look, I know I'm always going to be done by 11 a.m. I'm always going to be done with all of my checks. So what I don't want to do is print out 100 checks, and then in this particular setting, right, 1 hour later we would announce those checks are ready. Well, for 100 checks that's not okay. For one check maybe that is, but for 100 checks it's not. So we have this check ready delay, and what this allows you to do is, like I said, we're going to hold all of those delays until 11 a.m. So if you came in 8 o'clock in the morning, you printed all of your checks. Without this delay, we would announce at 9 o'clock. The checks are ready. But instead what we're going to do is we're going to have this check ready delay, so we'll announce that at 11 a.m. Also keep in mind too that these two work together. So let's say you printed your checks at 10:30 in the morning. With an hour check print delay, we will not announce that. Even with the 11 o'clock delay, we will not announce that until 11:30. So they kind of work together there to give you that little bit of buffer around when to announce these. Now, with this setting here, if you decided you transmitted, let's say at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, this is already past our 11 a.m. Well, once we've passed this time, let's say we transmit at 1 o'clock and we print our checks at 1 o'clock and we have 50 checks. Once we've passed this check ready delay time, we can't go and change it and push it to later in the day, like say 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, because it's already passed. So one of the things we have still working for us is a check print delay, clearly, but we have our third method, and let me go ahead and just create this. I'll show you the third method. The third method is actually come in here and add a hold. So once you add a hold, that hold, and you can see here the checks are currently being held. That hold is in place until you release the hold. Now, removing the hold, releasing the hold, if you forget to do that, we will do it for you at midnight. Midnight at midnight our time, Central Standard Time. So what that means is that if you put a hold on something, you keep in mind that no check announcements are ever going to happen for the checks that are ready that day are not going to happen with that hold in place. So if you want to put a hold on something, and then let's say it's 6 or 7 o'clock tonight, you're ready, the checks are all printed out, everything's ready to go, you can go and actually remove the hold at that point. So back to our scenario, 1 o'clock, you transmitted, you got 50 more returns. What you'd want to do then at that point, if you need more than 60 minutes, is you could either go in and set the 60 minutes at a higher number before you print the checks, or you can actually go in and put a hold in place to hold all those announcements. Now, one of the things I've been saying a couple times here is that it's for the day that the check was printed. So if you have printed a check a prior day, none of these settings apply. The thought there is that we want to, again, we want to balance that, announcing the check as soon as possible, but then also giving the ERO an opportunity to work that check. So let's say, for example, you printed some checks and you put a hold in place. Well, the announcements won't go out with a hold at all. You forget to remove the hold. You had a busy day, really hard day. You go home and you forgot to remove the hold. Again, the hold will be removed at midnight. Now, if the customer chose to receive an email or a text message, they'll receive that text message. It'll be sent to them at a little after midnight when we release the hold. The phone message, should they choose to receive that, will not be sent until 9 o'clock in the morning for the time zone in which the office exists. So it won't be until 9 o'clock the next morning. Now, that means then that you may have customers coming in and checking for their tax return at 9 o'clock the next morning. So again, you've already printed the check the prior day, so just understand that's kind of how that works. For the IVR or for the website, so calling in the toll-free number through the website, again, same sort of status is going to exist there too. So at 11:59, when they check their status on the website, it'll say it's still transmitted. We don't have any more information. At 12 o'clock or 12:01, really, what it's going to say is it's going to say your check's ready. So really, there's very little risk there releasing these at midnight, auto-releasing these at midnight, because your offices typically aren't open that late anyway, so your customer really can't take action until the next morning. So let's go back to editing our office, and let's talk about the second option here, which is the IRS reject status settings. Now, anytime we see the IRS reject come back from the IRS, we have a couple options to us. One is to never announce rejects, and that is what most EROs want, and it's really for two reasons. One is because they want to have an opportunity to look at that reject before it makes it back to the customer. For example, it may be that you just fat fingered something, a social security number or something like that, so you want to be able to fix that. The other is you want to be able to control when and how you work that with the customer. So you know it was rejected. You may call that customer and work through the details of the reject when you have time to do that, and that might not be when you first open, when people are coming through the door. It may be later than day. So you typically want to like I said, most EROs choose to never announce. Now, if you want to announce, again, this gives you an opportunity to not announce them until a certain time of day. So this is much like the check ready delay, in that I can set a time of day of when to announce this. So if I come in at 8 o'clock in the morning, I transmit all my returns, and there's some rejects that happen, I know I will not announce those rejects until 11 a.m. So if I go in, fix those rejects at 9 o'clock, retransmit them at 9:30, I will know those rejects, and those rejects clear up, I'll know they won't be announced until 11 a.m. In fact, they won't be announced at all, right? We clear them up. So that's just another buffer there to offer that to you. But like I said, most EROs choose to never announce. But should you want to, the option is available to you. Now, both of these settings we have links to our help, where you can actually set. We describe this in very much detail of how you can actually go in, read about this, and get more information on exactly what all this is doing. So we give you some examples to kind of give you a sense of, so that you understand exactly when these check ready delays and these check ready delays, as well as the IRS rejects, are going to happen. Okay, so let's switch back over to Refund Point, where your customer will check the statuses of their refunds. And this is where the customer may supply their social security number, as well as we have a CAPTCHA here to make sure that we don't have any automated process trying to farm information from our users. So let's supply our demo social security number of 1111111, and we'll type in the CAPTCHA information, 437478. And so this is the reason for showing you this is where some of that information we gather with an office is displayed or used. So this is particular for the 1111 demo social security number. We have this tied or mapped to an office. So you can see at the top here we have our status for the return, as well as we have the address for the office where the return was prepared. We have the company name here at the top, and then as well as we have a map, so you can click on this and navigate to a map of the office location. And then we're able to tell you if the office is currently open for two reasons. Because one is you told us the time zone that the office is in, as well as you've provided the hours of operation here. So if you don't supply the hours of operation, or if you don't supply us the address, we cannot add this additional information here. So the users will receive the status information still, but then they won't have this additional value add. And so that completes this video. Thank you.